straight case, but I don't know what's ahead or what the ending will bring. I just need to take a minute and then try again to take up the king. If I'm stuck, I'll call you with each stage I'll move through. Well, I know just a little more. Each step I load brings us closer to that old throne. If I'm stuck, I'll call you with each stage I'll move through. Well, I know just a little more. Each step I load brings us closer to that old throne.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Zealous Racing League for the ZADs Galaxy Tour Season 8. We've got round 4 for you tonight. This was going to be the round 5 race, but as most of you ACC racers will know, we had a bit of a technical issue last week as the servers for Assetto Corsa were down last week. We were going to be having our race at Misano, but instead we wait a week and we'll move on. We'll take Misano at the end of this season, and we'll move to the Indy road course. Yep, it's not the 500, but it is still Indianapolis, and we're here for a 60-minute race tonight with so far 24 drivers on track. We got a 1-hour race with one mandatory pit stop, 4 fuel. It's going to be a fun race tonight. We'll see how it turns out. One thing that I did want to share, since we're about halfway through the season now, I wanted to share what our current standings are for the league. So I'm going to just drag this right on over and show the SimGrid standings. We've currently got Kenneth Portis, KP, who is running in our lead position with 191 points. He has won all the races but one of the races at Watkins Glen last week. So we'll see if he can keep that streak going. Then we got Shenkai Zhang, who's been performing excellently in that Ferrari. He is currently running second, and Matthias Tada is running in third. We've got all of our other drivers coming in pretty close after Tada here. Story and Fender only 10 points apart. Then 4 points behind him is Reed. Friesen with 99, only 1 point away from Reed. So our standings are getting very close here with all of our racers. Everything is still up for grabs, especially within these top 10 positions. So this race could move everything around a little bit. It could keep everything solidified in their spots, but we'll just have to see what happens. Just wanted to share that with you though, and let you know kind of what the standings are currently for our league. And then as I get everything set here, I want to get the sound on so you can hear the cars. Get that sound on, drive, and we'll take a look at this Indy road course circuit here tonight. Now, I must admit, I'm not the most familiar with this course myself, having only raced here once on this layout in ACC, and it was actually in the M2 Cup cars, so it wasn't even in GT3 cars. But a couple of things to know. This circuit, for me at least personally, is a little bit odd because of that first sector. At the tail end of that first sector, I'm usually used to a chicane coming off of, I want to say that's turn 4. I'm used to usually a chicane being there going into the back straight, but instead we have this kind of fast right-hand turn as we watch you go around that turn, going down that right-hand turn into a weird kind of slow speed hairpin that catches you off guard. And I gotta say, for me, that's probably one of the hardest parts of the circuit. One, because I'm not familiar with it. I'm usually used to the chicane being there. But two, it's very slippery in that road, and there's no real brake markers there that I could find at least. So you really have to trust your instinct and make sure that you're braking correctly there. So we'll see how our drivers manage that and manage this slippery track in the first place, even when it is in optimum conditions. So we'll see what that brings. Other than that, this circuit pretty much is par for the course from what I would expect from the Indy road course. Having raced this mostly in Project Cars 2 back when I still play a lot of Project Cars 2 for the single player races, but anyway, the Project Cars 2 layout I'm used to, everything is pretty much identical other than, the omission of that chicane for that little odd hairpin. So, like I said, we'll see how our drivers manage that. Indy is, mostly known, I would say, obviously for Indy cars, but a lot of other cars do race at Indianapolis. I think they have touring car races, GT America races here, and the likes. But it seems like every time I catch this track, it seems to be with the actual Indy cars. We're 2.5 minutes away from the start of the race, though. And like I mentioned at the start of the stream, we're going to be having our usual 15 minutes of qualifying, and then we'll go into a 60-minute race that will have one mandatory pit stop for fuel. Now, given how long the tires last in these cars and how much fuel you can hold in these cars, I think the optimum strategy would be to do a splash and dash pit stop and stay on the same tires. As we saw the last race at Watkins Glen, we had a 40-minute race with a mandatory pit stop for fuel. All the drivers that opted to take a pit stop and add more than just a splash and dash of fuel were definitely on the back foot when it came to strategy for the race. Having that quick pit stop, even though it would mean having more fuel in your car to start the race, really helps you with that pit stop, saves a lot of time in the pit stop. And to be completely honest, the amount of fuel it's going to increase the car's weight from, yeah, it's a lot of fuel. You're adding probably quite a few more liters of fuel. You're almost adding full race fuel, which in these cars is probably going to be 70, 80, 90 liters of fuel, you know, as opposed to running maybe 60 liters of fuel and pitting for more fuel. I don't know if that's the right play, because that extra 20 liters of fuel, while it will slow you down maybe a little bit, at the end of the day, I think you'd rather race that on track and maybe try to keep people behind you as opposed to risking it with having less fuel at the start of the race and then having a longer pit stop later. So we'll see what our drivers decide to do. I can imagine that we're probably going to have drivers doing both strategies, having splash and dashes, having having maybe less fuel at the start and pitting for more fuel. I could even see some drivers opting to change their tires during their pit stop. We'll have to see. I think, if you do decide to get more than just a splash and dash of fuel, the right way to go would be to change your tires, because if you're already going to be there, might as well spend a bit of time and change the tires as well. But I'm no expert, I'm no strategist. I'm probably the last person you'd want to ask when it comes to strategy. But from experience from these races being more of a sprint style format, I can see that being, what goes on here. All right. Well, we are close to qualifying. We're actually in qualifying now, and let's take a look at our pit lane, our onboards. Who is the first driver out? It's driver 84 of Kenneth Portis. Now what we're going to do here, as always with these races, is we're going to be going into the dash cam here, or actually we're going to go on the bonnet cam, and we're going to take a lap with KP here and show you all the track. We always take the first person out for qualifying and show the track around. So we'll take KP, our points leader in that Honda NSX. We'll take him and watch a lap around the Indy road course here in ACC. Now, I gotta say, out of all of the tracks that I've been able to race with the new American DLC, I have to say this is probably the most lackluster of the bunch. I was hoping that it would be a more popular track, maybe Sebring or Sonoma or Virginia International, and I gotta say, I was really hoping truly it would be the I was really hoping it would be Road America, because that's my home course. That's that's my favorite track, even though I'm terrible at it. I was really hoping, and I think a lot of other people were too, that this would be Road America. Wonder if Wolf is going to do a Wolf thing. You know, given the track record this season so far, Sosa, it's fairly likely. But that aside, let's follow KP here on his first lap. His first flying lap as he warms up his tires for the first lap of qualifying here at the Indy Road Course for round 4 of ZAD's Galaxy Tour. Down the main straight, this is very familiar to anyone who knows the Indianapolis course. Cross the bricks. Down a long straight into a heavy braking zone. Really quick right-hander there. Into the left. Make sure you're nice and slow. Get as much speed as you can. Go wide. A lot of back and forth for the circuit. Right-hander usually would be a chicane like I have mentioned, but you go into that right-hander. No markings. Just got to feel it. Brake. Brake. A lot tighter than you would think it would be. Try to hug left as much as possible to get the best run onto the back straight here. And now we're on to the Indy I know. Braking at the second billboard, just past it there. And going left into the S's. You can really hug those curbs. And same with this one here, where they want to hug that curb, get on the power as soon as possible as you go around this banked portion of the track. Now this banked portion does lead into a pretty difficult braking zone right here into a hard right-hander. And then leading into another hairpin left. You want to hug this nice and close. Make sure to try to stay on the power the whole way. If you can take that flat out all the way, that's good. Looking good for KP for his first flying lap. And that is a very good flying lap, 135.8. It's one of the faster ones I've seen. Tutta, Burr behind him. Pretty great first lap from KP there. We'll take some of our other cameras here and go through some of the other racers we have. And speaking of other racers, Shenkai Zhang, our second place in points, answers with a better lap, a 35.422. Now, given the nature of this circuit, I think it's going to be favoring a car like the Ferrari a lot more than it will be favoring a car like the NSX. NSX doesn't handle nearly as well in these slow speed corners. So a car like the Ferrari is really going to be doing wonders here in those parts. And you know, the Ferrari's a good all-arounder car, so Zhang seems to be putting that car to the best use he can. Nunez clocking in with a 136.4 that puts him in P3 for the race so far. Getting a lot of our other drivers to come in here. Let's show around some of our drivers. Nunez hasn't been able to join us every single week, but when he's here, he's always performing well in that Audi. JJ Burr doing very good this season in the BMW. Having a good time too. He's performed well. Story right behind him is currently 4th in our standings. I know JJ and Story have been doing some good racing against each other this season. So we'll see if that happens today as well. Tutta is our third place standing driver right there in another Audi. He's been doing great while not racing as fast as Portis and Zhang and some of our front runners. Tada has always been able to perform up near the front, the best of the rest for sure, and he's been able to keep it clean, which is incredibly important in these races. Just surviving the first few laps, surviving the race is enormous and can really help you out. Got Afonso racing with us in the 999 car. Porsche. Chris Rise, an exciting newcomer to the Zealous Racing League family, racing in the Audi. Just has a brand new livery there, a Colorado livery. Gotta say, I'm not much of a Colorado fan, although I do have a lot of friends from Colorado. But Chris in that Audi going out now for some fast laps. Rise Competition Audi. I like that livery. It looks really nice. Ricky Scott, another one of our drivers in the McLaren. Very popular car. James Turnbull in the Audi. Now, I got to give Belanger some love here. JP sent me a message a couple weeks ago. I've been completely butchering Belanger's last name, this whole season. I've been pronouncing it like the filthy American that I am. I've been pronouncing it Bellinger. I should have seen that his car or his nameplate shows him as being Canadian. That maybe should have clued me in that it might be a French Canadian name. Sure enough, it is Belanger, not Bellinger. So apologies. And speaking of Belanger, running the third fastest lap there. And if we look at our other timings, Kenneth Portis also running a faster lap, just a half a tenth faster than Zhang, getting awfully close here. And if we look at Belanger's time, his time with Tada, it's 3 thousandths of a second. Wait, not 3 thousandths, gosh, am I doing that? 3/10 of a thousandths faster than Tada behind him. So it's getting awfully close here in qualifying. I think this is going to be some great racing today. See what other drivers we have here. Jeremy Story, like I've mentioned, is currently running fourth in the standings. Again, just being very safe with his races and having some great scraps with drivers, don't get me wrong, but has been able to be consistent, which is key. Jimmy Olsen currently in the pits in the Audi. Got Kevin Yu, another one of our McLaren drivers. Fabiano Candido racing in the Bentley, one of our only Bentley drivers. Another driver that I'm a good friends with and have been racing with my whole sim racing career, Justin Friesen, aka Slim Friesen, in that Knucklehead Racing Ferrari, another Ferrari driver. Seems, having talked with him before, struggling with this track, just all around. Having done some practice, was able to get some 36s in practice, but hasn't been able to break out of the 37s in the last couple days of practice. So we'll see if he can respond during qualifying and get a better lap. I know he's got it in him. He's quite a quick racer, even like a lot faster than me. And these guys in this league are already way faster than even Friesen, so I'd be pretty far back here in these races if I was racing. But we'll see how good Friesen can do. I'm supposed to be roasting him this race. He's given me permission to do so. So we'll see what I can get out during the race today. Todd Cromer in the Porsche has been having some great races these last few rounds, doing quite well with his friend and our Mercedes driver, our token Mercedes driver, Glenn Peño. Anthony Camacho one of our BMW drivers, Michael Santello, in the Ferrari. Pedro A, another one of those Mercedes drivers. Christian Landry in the BMW. Nicholas Wyatt in the Audi. Sean Dudzik, another BMW driver. And then Wolf, who seems to have not set a time yet. Wolf is one of our admins. Seems like Sosa, he is indeed doing Wolf things. So I don't know what he's up to here, but seems to be having some troubles. Looking near the top of our leaderboards here, looks like Zhang has been able to answer KP's fastest lap with our first 34 of the night, a 34.942. A great lap from Zhang. Let's see if Portis is going to be able to answer as he comes along the last turn here down the straight. Not able to do one faster. Indeed, he went quite slow on that lap. Must have been held up by some traffic. As we go into our final laps here with 3 minutes left of qualifying, I just want to make a shout out for the Zealous Racing League community. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you're in the chat, if you're watching us live, be sure to share this this stream with your friends, with your family. If you have friends and family into sim racing or racing in general, I do recommend joining us here, watching some racing. This might be virtual, but for a lot of us, this is the closest we'll be to racing in real life. And while the cars may not be real, the racing surely is. You know, these cars are modeled almost to perfection. Real drivers say these feel exactly like the cars they drive when they're out on these courses. So it's great that we have this opportunity to experience these beautiful tracks, and it's great that we have the opportunity to race together in this awesome community, Zealous Racing League. You know, that's what we're here for. We're here to have fun. We're here to race with our friends. We're here to build, you know, a racing community. So if you're interested in joining, I ask that you feel free to join our social media, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and if you're interested in racing with us and joining us in future leagues, be sure to join our Discord. We have links on the home page for our YouTube page for the Discord. Be sure to join if you're a veteran sim racer, new to sim racing. We've got everyone at Zealous. We're here to help if you're looking to get into the sport. And, you know, if you're a new sim racer and you're looking to find a league to race with, I can't recommend I can't recommend many other leagues better for North American racing than Zealous. You know, we have some great racing leagues. We've got Zealous, we've got Octane, we've got Arc, we've got Delta. Um, you know, we're here to provide a wonderful gentleman's racing league for any skill level. As you can see from the times, literally anyone can join. Doesn't matter how fast or slow you are. You know, a great example is my friend Glenn Peño, who started sim racing a year or two ago. Hasn't been sim racing for too long, but is really putting in the time and the effort to improve and have fun with his sim racing. He's always grinding it out there. He's streaming. He's playing all types of racing games, and the progress is really showing. You know, I remember last season, I could tell Glenn was struggling, and it may have been because he picked the Porsche. It's a tough car for a beginner to race with. But he seemed to have finally found a car he's really comfortable with, that, you know, that Mercedes AMG. He seems to be very comfortable in. And now he's setting, you know, very respectable laps. I could see myself being, you know, right up his alley when it comes to times with a lot of these tracks. So just a great success story coming out of Zealous. And as we finish up our qualifying session here, time is at 0, but everyone is allowed to finish their lap here. Let's watch Zhang as he tries to improve his already improved 34.6, putting a quite substantial gap between him and Portis. as we watch him go through the final couple turns here. Penultimate corner. And as he makes that final sweeping right-hand turn, he'll cross the finish line. And we'll do one faster. Not a lot, but he gets a 34.602 to do about a half a tenth faster that lap. Drivers behind him. Let's look at some of our other racers. Kenneth Portis, seeing if he can do one better. Hasn't been able to respond with a sub 35. Is this the one? It is not the one, but that sets our current standings. Turnbull getting our final podium qualifying position here. Hit and drive for our racers. You're indeed right, Ricky Scott. Absolute freak. KP is absolutely nuts. Zhang, though, with the fastest lap in qualifying today. Xinkai Zhang, a newcomer to Zealous in the Ferrari with that 34.6. Behind him, Kenneth Portis in P2. P3, James Turnbull. P4 is Nunez. Turnbull got one better than Nunez on that final lap. P5, locked down by the last Audi there. 3, 4, and 5, all Audis. Story in P6. Belanger in P7. Alphonse in P8. Justin Fries in P9. Rounding out our top 10, the Bentley of Fabiano Candido. We'll show the rest of the grid here. Ricky Scott, Chris Rise, Matt Fender, JJ Burr, Kevin Yu, Jimmy Olsen, Todd Cromer, Glenn Peno, Michael Santello, Anthony Camacho, Pedro A., Christian Landry, Sean Dudzik, Nicholas Wyatt, and finally Calvin Wolf. Sad to see that that wonderful Zealous Racing League logo right at the back there, but maybe he's sandbagging. Maybe he's hoping to gain some positions here on the start of the race. For the start, we'll do the helicam here to watch the beginning action, and we'll follow our leaders as we start this race. We've got 10 seconds left for an hour-long race here at Indy till this session starts. Remember, these drivers have this 60-minute race and have one mandatory pit stop for fuel, tires if they so choose. I've already explained how I don't think tires are the right strategy for this race. I think the right strategy would be to splash and dash. But again, I'm no expert. I'm not 100% sure what the best thing to do is going to be, and only time will tell. But given the track record on our races, with the format we go with these sprint races, gotta say, splash and dash is seeming like the most appealing way to strategize this race. As we come around the final corner here, our drivers will go green in a moment. Rolling start. Ferrari versus Honda. They're on the main straight. And we are green. Lights are out and away we go. Great start by both drivers, but Nunez gets a great start. Already poking his nose in the middle, and he gets ahead. Zhang breaks a little later. Little bit of bumping between those cars. Nunez on the inside gets P2, but that just gives KP the inside on this next turn. Doesn't seem to be doing anything though. Nunez able to hold it there against KP. A great start from Nunez there. Really gets the jump on our leaders. Zhang is able to hold the lead though. Nunez, then Portis, Turnbull, Story behind him, was able to make the move on Tutta. See if Portis is able to respond and see if Zhang can really build up a lead here. Zhang already a second ahead of the other drivers. Nunez is going to hold up those guys as long as he can. KP getting a better run there. He is the faster driver, but he's got to make the move. It's all up to him now. Story trying to make a move on Turnbull there. Tutta. Friesen dropped a few places. And then also the Bentley of Candido moves up to P8 from P10. Great move. We got the number 7 car of Camacho with a bit of damage, it looks like, on that BMW in the back. Continuing to watch the front here, Nunez and Portis. Nunez able to pull away just a little bit here, but Portis is trying to stick with Nunez, especially on the straight. This is where Portis is going to get his speed. That NSX is an absolute bullet down the straights. And as we come down the main straight here, Portis peeking in on Nunez there, but not enough speed to make it stick. Nunez is holding him off. Portis makes the fastest lap there. That's not saying much, though. That's the first lap of the race. Justin Friesen, like I said, moved back a few places. Some drivers that have been able to keep with it. Todd Cromer. Pino looks to have had a bit of an incident there as well on the first lap. Nunez a little bit dangerous. Portis looking on the inside. He's going to have a better run going down the back straight here. Is Portis going to be able to have the speed to take Nunez? I think he will. He gets ahead down the back straight. Nunez got the inside though. He's going to have to go the long way. It's awfully close. Nunez has got the better line here during the S's, but Portis awfully close, and Portis just squeaks out ahead in the S's there. Great move by Portis, gets Turnbull a lot closer too. Nunez having to back out of Portis' move there. Portis making an excellent and safe move there against Nunez for P2, getting back where he qualified. Great racing. Now Portis is going to have to play catch up to our leader, Shinkai Zhang. Zhang already on the front straight here, while Portis was being held up by the other drivers. Down the front straight, trying to break the toe. Not going to stick, though. Nunez holding. That Audi looking awful quick down the main straight. Nunez trying to peek in there and not going to work on KP. This is just giving Zhang all the space he needs to build that gap. Already has built a 5-second gap, which is quite large considering it's only 2 laps into the race. Battle between Nunez and Turnbull here. Remember, Turnbull did get a faster lap, qualified better than Nunez, but that great start from Nunez was able to get him P2 off the bat. Looks like some battling in the back between Tutta, Alfonso and Story. I know Alfonso was struggling in the early rounds of Zealous, but seems to be finding his stride here in that Porsche at the road course. Car 95, Kevin Yu into the runoff. A lot of damage on that McLaren. Hopefully he's doing all right. Calvin Wolf moving his way up slowly but surely. Looks to have some damage though on the front of that McLaren. Justin Friesen. Oh, gets tipped by Olsen there going into the final turn there. Final couple turns. Caught the right tail end of that there. Unfortunate for Friesen there. He's going to be a bit frustrated with that. Might want to take his pit stop early and maybe make some damage repair and try to get some clean air so he can get some fast laps in there. That moves him down into P17, it looks like. Taking a look at our fiery newcomer, Chris Rise, in the Audi. running P10 currently behind the Bentley of Candido, seeing if he can maybe make a move. Candido and Burr are battling it out there. Same with, or I should say, Candido and Story are battling out there. Belanger, sorry, getting awfully close there. It's going to take me a while to get Belanger's name right here, but getting awfully close to Rise there. Good battle between these two. It looks like Belanger had a bit of a rough start to this race. He qualified much better than where he is currently, P11. Watching our leaders as well, Zhang pulling ahead more and more, now 7.5 seconds ahead of KP. Looks like he's going to be running away with this one. Hopefully his pit strategy plays out well for him. Watching our battles close to the front, Nunez still holding with Portis here. Turnbull seems to have had some sort of issue and now is falling back. Chris Rise and Belanger. Belanger making the move on the inside there down the front straight. See if Rise can get him now. Going right back to this action. Trying to get that toe slipstream. Rise looking good down this front straight. Can he make the move? Contact between the two drivers. Rise is on the inside. Belanger drives into Rise there. Makes it tough. Maybe he's only on one screen there. That's going to provide some damage to the side of Rise's car. Hopefully that doesn't damage his car too much. Sorry for the cough there, guys. And now into that hairpin that I've been talking about being so tricky, so slippery. Seems to have managed it well, though. Rise currently ahead of Belanger. Cromer is getting awfully close to Belanger behind, and Scott as well. Got some good battles here between these drivers. JJ Burr feeling some pressure, it looks like, too. Maybe not, though. He's trying to catch up to Story. Back to this action. This is where the race is currently happening. Cromer, Rise, Belanger, and Scott all staying as close together as they can here. Belanger goes a little bit wide. That is a tough corner to master there off the banking. I know that's probably my second least favorite turn when I race here. I never can seem to get that braking point right. You should be able to brake earlier than it seems, but just never seems to work out, it seems. I'm not sure why. Looks like we have the Nick Wyatt, the 27 car, into the pits. That promotes Cromer up into P11. If we take a look closer to the front, Nunez is sticking with Kenneth Portis here in that Audi. Seems to be getting back a lot of time on the corners and the straights. That Honda NSX doesn't seem to be doing Portis much favors today. Already 9.2 seconds back from our leader Zhang. That being said, Portis is doing absolutely amazing work staying in P2. We know he's got the pace in him, but I don't think this is the track to suit his car, so he's just trying to do the best he can with what he's given. And props for Nunez to stick with Portis there, running some absolutely rapid laps alongside. Looking at the fastest laps of the race so far, Zhang seems to be doing the fastest laps, with the best lap being a sub 35 at 34.912. Fastest lap other than that has been from Nunez at 36.115. See if Portis can hold off here. Seems to be gaining time on Nunez, trying to break the toe and trying to get ahead so that Nunez doesn't have the slipstream down the straights anymore. That being said, that Audi's awfully agile in the corners. We're 10 minutes into the race here, just past 10 minutes. Nunez off into the grass there. Hey, Nunez, this is not iRacing. You're not going to get any speed boost there. No temperature cooling as well on those tires. Not an ACC. I know I poked some fun. iRacing is still a great sim, but it's a good meme. Gotta poke fun where we can as ACC drivers. Taking a look further back, we've got Candido edging on Burr here for P8. Looks like Candido and that Bentley are doing quite a good job here, keeping with everyone. Bentley's an absolute tank of a car, but the tankiness of the car means it can cut a lot of corners really well, and handles fairly well, from what I hear. A lot of drivers like that car. As things settle down here, gonna give the rest of the drivers here a little bit of screen time and show off time to show off their skills. Got some drivers coming out of the pits, but like I said, the pit window isn't open just yet. Already given JJ Burr and Candido some time. Chris Rise, Todd Cromer keeping up with that Porsche. Ricky Scott in the McLaren setting some great laps here. Belanger seems to have fallen off a little bit from the pack. Maybe having some off tracks, but trying to stick with the best he can. P13 currently. Matt Fender looks to have some damage on the front end of that Audi, and he's got Wolf and Friesen right behind him. Friesen looking to gain back some of the time he lost. A lot of damage on the front of that Audi. Quite a good little race we've got going on here between Fender, Wolf, and Friesen. Wolf starting in the back of the pack. Looks to see how far up he can go. And coming into the banked braking section there. Couple final corners here as our drivers duke it out. Who's going to get the best line out of the corner here? Looks like Wolf's opting to take it wide, hugging close, gaining a lot of speed out of that turn down the main straight. Is he able to hold, though? Is he able to squeeze out that extra little bit of speed he needs? It's keeping even, but Wolf's on the inside. Fender brakes a little later. Able to hold off Wolf for another turn. Friesen inching in, close behind. Portis making a gap to Nunez now 1.35. Wolf getting overtaken by Friesen there in the last few turns as well. Excellent move there. And down the back straight these guys go. Friesen wants to try to make a move here, but he's not going to have enough speed to. Didn't get the run he needed. That is all right, though. Going into this section, looks to be doing a lot better. Hugging close, trying to stay with Fender the best he can. Friesen on the gas, nice and early there. Gaining time on Fender there through that turn. Really key to get as much speed as he can. Friesen on the inside. Awfully close. Cuts him off. Friesen goes wide. Ooh, that's a tough one there. Friesen tried to take the inside line there. Gives Wolf some time to come back. I think Friesen is maybe going to be biting his tongue a little bit there. Kind of sent it up the middle. Maybe didn't give Fender all the space he really needed there to be able to make a good turn. Maybe went in a little bit too hot and too deep. But he's going to be working to try and come back. Didn't lose too much time there. Fender and Wolf battle just ended too. with Wolf able to overtake Fender for P14. Going up closer to the front, we have Tada. In that Audi, like I mentioned, he's nice and consistent, you know, not making any major waves in that Audi, but always placing near the top of the pack, near the front, always performing well. And currently trying to inch in on Turnbull there, who is now 4 seconds back from Nunez. Afonso 4 seconds back from these drivers in the Porsche as he goes down the front straight. Got Jeremy Story in the McLaren currently running P7. Already given these guys a little bit of love, but looks like it's getting awfully close again between Burr, Candido, and Rise. Todd Cromer, Scott right behind him, Belanger. Yu, who is currently a lapped car, but he's back on the course trying to do his best after a few spins. Wolf, Fender, Olsen behind. Looks like Friesen made another mistake. Olsen gaining and making the move on Fender for P15 there. Not sure what happened to Friesen there. Anthony Camacho overtaking him as well as Santello. With the shake and bake racing. Oh, the number 6 car of Matt Fender off the track. Looks to have maybe gotten bumped or too much damage on that car, having a rough race. Him and Friesen both. Promotes Camacho and Santello up 1 place. Battle between Camacho and Santello. Let's watch this here between these two drivers. See if Santello can make the move in that Ferrari. Goes right and then left. Now on the inside. Respect between the drivers, but Camacho is going to come out of that a little bit better, getting the inside line, going into the S's, cuts that a little bit close. A lot of curbing on that car, and it looks like I think Santello is going to get a better line out of the right-hander there out of the S's, which is crucial coming into the braking zone here. Camacho locking down that inside line, going to force Santello outside, and it's going to give Camacho the right line, but Santello trying to make the pass, going outside to in. Not going to make it work. Camacho sticking it and holding the inside line there for the next turn. Going down the main straight, Santello and Camacho hold. Excellent racing and defending between those two drivers, keeping it clean and also keeping it spicy. Santello down the front straight here, hoping to make his move into the first turn. And looks like he will. He's got that inside. And he makes it. Can he make it stick in these first 2 turns? And I think he will. Great move from Santello there. To take P16 from Santello. Good racing between those two. Friesen a lot of damage on that Ferrari, but hoping to come back a bit. P18. Pedro A. Currently running P20 in that Mercedes AMG, hoping to keep it clean. Behind it is Glenn Peño in the other AMG. AMG's running back-to-back, but Peño is a lapped car, trying to make up for some lost time after some incidents. Landry running P21 currently. Is the last driver we have to see. Just holding up the back end. Maybe not running near the front, even though he's running with our leader. Even though he may not be running near the front, he is just doing the best he can to keep it clean and run some laps. Our leader, Zhang, absolutely commanding this race. P1 running 16 seconds ahead of KP in second place. Looking at some of the other drivers and races that we have going on here, Story and Afonso It's a tight race here. We also have Cromer and Scott. Camacho and Friesen as well. We'll give some love to Story and Afonso, though. The battle for P6. A little bit too far away to make any move here, but Afonso looking to close the gap here. Awfully close. Goes a bit wide and deep into that tough banked turn. Don't blame him. I would do the same exact thing. Keep Story safe for now. JJ Burr and Chris Rise having a battle as well. These two guys have been battling it out, it seems like, all race. Burr seems to have a little bit better line out of the final corner, but they are back-to-back, neck and neck down the front straight. Going inside is JJ Burr, trying to make Rise go to the outside, and Rise will go to the outside. Tries to get the outside to inside, but does not work for Rise. Has to back out. Burr holding the P9 position. Looking back further into further down the standings, Friesen able to make the move on Camacho, holding P17 currently. Looks like some racing between Turnbull and Tutta as well. Might have to go to that here soon. After we look for, let's actually go to that this little race right here. Nunez seems to trying to be catching up with Portis there, and now the pit window is open. 15 minutes for the pit window. All these drivers need to make one mandatory pit stop for fuel. Some excellent battles between our drivers today. Looking at some of the battles we have going on here. As we watch the battle between Cromer and Scott here, I want to let you guys know to follow us on social media. Give us a follow on Twitter and on Facebook. Links are on our YouTube page. And if you're new to the sim racing community or new to Zealous, be sure to join our Discord if you're interested in getting involved in further races and further seasons of the ZADs Galaxy Tour. Pretty soon after we finish season 8 here, which we're halfway through the season now, but we will be starting another season up after that. So now is a great time to get into the community to get all the up-to-date information on upcoming leagues. We do have some drivers in the pits currently. A lot of our drivers near the back: Chris Rise, Camacho, Fender, Pino, and Wyatt, all going into the pits currently. Scott getting awfully close to Cromer there. Scott seems to be able to drive a little bit faster laps, not much, but just slightly faster than Cromer. Maybe the play is to take an early pit stop. Time will tell, though. We'll see how it all plays out. Any other drivers in the pits? Not currently, but Chris Rise coming out of the pits. First out. First in, first out. Now running P19, but he does have his pit stop under his belt. Let's see if he's got a little bit of clean air to make some moves happen. Cars in front of him are some cars much further ahead of his standing, so it's not really his race. Those drivers are currently our P4 and P5 drivers, Tutta and Turnbull. So it's not really Rise's race, but if he can stick with them, it's going to sure help his race. Trying to warm up those tires a little bit. It seems like get them up to pressure as he weaves down the back straight there. Fender currently still in the pits, probably repairing the damage he received Fenders coming out currently. As is Pino Pedro A going into the pits. Looking at some of our battles, Turnbull and Tutta. Promised we'd watch this little matchup here. A lot of damage there from the barriers. And they're continuing to race. Got a few other drivers. Story into the pits. Currently running P6 behind these two. We also have Landry. JJ Burr going into the pits. Wyatt still in the pits. He's been in the pits most of the race, only completed 4 laps. Awfully close battles between these drivers here. I want to give a little bit of a look to my friend Justin Slim. I really think he should take a pit stop here soon. Hate to say it. Better take it soon. Repair that damage. I think he can be running some faster laps if he just repaired that. I don't know if this strategy is the right way to go. I really think you should be pitting here soon. Looks to be some white flags, slow cars. Drivers coming out of the pits. Cromer and Scott still battling it out here with 10 minutes left as they go onto the back straight. .711 car currently on its way out of the pits. Oh, goes a bit wide. Scott goes a bit wide. Gives Cromer the chance to gain some breathing room with Belanger right behind. And that really does concede P10 to Belanger. I think they were battling a little bit further back than that, though. Pre-pit stops. So Belanger promoted, moves Scott further back. Now closer to you, who's one of our lapped cars. Belanger into the pits now after making that move. Could be a good move. We'll see. Turnbull into the pits after the battle with Tutta. Maybe trying to get out, make sure the undercut doesn't happen. Looks like he's also opting to grab new tires or grab more fuel. One or the other. I think a lot of these drivers did opt to get more fuel than a splash and dash. Again, I'm not 100% sure if that's the way to go, but we'll see. Jimmy Olsen in the pits, Calvin Wolf in the pits. As we go down the back straight, Tutta trying to keep ahead. As we go to the front here, we see our leader. We've got our leader, Shenkai Zhang, in that Ferrari, has dominated the whole race so far in that Ferrari, doing an absolutely fantastic job, commanding the lead, 20 seconds up on Kenneth Portis. KP has yet to make his pit stop as well. And something to note, Nunez is awfully close to KP as well. Nunez has been sticking with Portis this whole race. And Portis qualified much faster than Nunez. In qualifying, Nunez goes wide there out of turn 4. It's going to cost him some time, but we really need to commend Nunez for the excellent drive he's having today. He is absolutely rapid in that Audi, doing great work. Looking at some of our other races, seeing what we've got going on. Friesen yet to make his pit stop. Going around another lap. Story having already made his pit stop. Running P11. Got a note though, Tutta was in P5 when he before he pit. We've got some other drivers. We've got Afonso, Candido, and Cromer in the pit. And as Teta comes out, looks like he is going to be in P7, P6. It could be. Alfonso is right behind Teta, though. And Teta does cross that line in P7. So currently Teta is the best of all the drivers that we have seen take a pit stop. But remember, he was racing fairly close. Camacho with a drive-through penalty, probably speeding into the pits there. Teta was running awfully close to Turnbull there, and Turnbull not able to make the move on Teta. Looks like Teta got the better of him during that pit stop. Taking a look at some of our other drivers. Kenneth Portis in the pits. Nunez in the pits. Santello going into the pits currently. Rest of our drivers feeding in here. Ricky Scott has yet to take a pit. Yu has yet to take a pit. And the battle continues between these two drivers. With all the great battles, we still have 30 minutes or so left in this race, 27 minutes to be exact. Zhang continues to dominate. And KP did seem to do the splash and dash there with his pit stop. Already out after making his mandatory pit stop for fuel. We've got 5 minutes left in our pit window as well. So only a few more laps before these drivers are going to have to make those pit stops. And looking at some of the times here, yeah, I really do think Friesen should be taking a pit stop here soon. That damage seems to be a little bit much for his car to take. He's not running close to his peers when it comes to his lap times. I think though that damage is really hindering his car there. I think it would be more beneficial for him to take a pit stop now and repair that car. Zhang into the pits. Good racing between Teta and Turnbull here. Turnbull not able to make a move though. Rise and Burr. Although this is not a battle, I think, but it is. It is a battle for position. Rise trying to contain Burr for P10. Burr on the inside. Rise will get the better run though. See, and that's the tricky part. You know, you might think you have it coming into that turn on the banking, but once you take that really hard turn, if you take the inside line, you're gonna have to go very, very deep into the next apex of the turn, or out of the apex of the turn, and that's going to put you at a disadvantage for the person who gets the inside line and keeps it nice and clean. I should say, if you take the outside line going in that, then you get the inside on the next turn. That's what I try to mean. Slipping over all my words here. Scott is in the pits. Zhang currently still in the pits on his way out. Looks like Burr isn't able to respond just yet. But great battles between these two. Friesen into the pits. And that will promote KP back into the lead, back into second place after Friesen makes his pit stop. Into the banking. Rise able to able to stay ahead of Burr quite easily there. Looking at some of our lap times, seeing how far Kenneth Portis is back from Zhang. Be interested to see how much time gained or lost. Looks like not gained or lost too much. But still 21 seconds behind. I'd say Nunez is the biggest loser from that pit stop now. Instead of just a second behind KP, he is 4 seconds. Another driver who gained massively from that pit stop was Story. You don't want to overlook that. Story was able to take 4th place on that pit stop from Tuda and Turnbull. That battle is now a 3-car battle, not just 2. Turnbull seems to not be able to keep up, but Tuda is trying to make up some grounds on Story here. Seems to think he is faster, and given the lap times, it looks like he might be. Something to note too is the fastest lap for both of these drivers. Tuda's fastest lap is almost a second, over a full second faster than Story's. But giving racing conditions, these drivers awfully close to each other as they cross the finish line. Last lap, Tuda was much quicker, almost a second faster than Story. Story trying to stay ahead the best he can. Looks like that pit stop didn't work out too well for Friesen either. Now let's see if he repaired some of the damage on his car, and it looks like he did. Good move, good move. That is exactly what he needed to do, and hopefully that pays off. Going back to the battle between Story and Tuda. Turnbull as well in the mix. Turnbull could be advantageous. This could be advantageous for him if Tuda tries to make a move and maybe it doesn't play out well. Turnbull has the opportunity to capitalize on any mistakes caused by the racing here. Maybe promote himself. Currently running Zhang, Portis, Nunez. This has been the race for most of the night. Nunez seems to be gaining on Portis though. Something to note. A lot of battling in our midfield today though, especially in those final top 10 positions and just past the top 10. Excellent racing between a lot of our drivers. As this pack crosses the start-finish line. Tuda trying to go on the inside. Story going to close him off. Going inside. Bit of a late move there, but I think it'll be okay. He didn't move didn't make any other moves. It looks like during the straight, he stuck to that wall. Getting awfully close here. Tuda hoping to maybe get him on this next straight. Holding nice and close. Hoping to get a good run down the straight. Turnbull getting close as well. Tuda off the road again. Not iRacing. That'll put him and Turnbull back a little bit because Turnbull did the same exact thing. Give Story just a little bit more time up there in P4. Just got to hold off for 20 more minutes to hold off the position. It's going to be a high order, but I think he might be able to do it if he keeps racing like he is. Gets a great run there. Goes wide. That's not the mistake he wanted. That moves Tuda up into P. A little bit of touching between those two drivers. Moves Tuda up into P4. Turnbull now P5. Story with that mistake. It's going to cost him 2 positions, not just 1. Story down into P6. And you can see P7 Alfonso far behind. Story trying to go on the inside, not going to make it work though. I think now that Tada and Turnbull are ahead, I think they're going to run away with it a bit here. Less than 20 minutes left. Looking further back into some of the races we have here. Wolf in the McLaren battling Belanger and Scott in the McLarens. McLaren battle here. Belanger lost a few positions. He was running 10th place. Seems to have made a mistake somewhere along the line. Scott makes an absolute send up the inside, capitalizing on Wolf's bad braking there. Moves Scott into P13. Great move there. See if Wolf can answer this in the next few corners. Not sure if he's going to be able to, but we'll see. Going down the hairpin. Around and around they go. Trying to get the best run out they can down the straight. Scott cutting over to the other side fast there. Not able to make the move though. Nunez is making time on Portis here as well. Something to note. And behind him, Fender, one of our lapped cars now. Sadly not having the best of races tonight. Fender usually running close to the top 10. Doesn't seem to be having a great race here at the Indy road course. Tough track for a lot of these drivers. Looking at some of the other battles we have potentially going on here. Tada and Turnbull still battling it out. Ricky, Scott, Wolf, and you, who's a lapped car, so we won't worry too much about you, but Scott seems to be pulling ahead of Wolf. Santello is going to be starting to feel some pressure here shortly. 7-Eleven car is off the track. The 7-Eleven of JJ Burr. And JJ Burr, that'll put him into the pits, it seems like. It looks like he may be disconnected from the race. That's too bad. Don't want to see that happen. But JJ Burr seems to have disconnected after a bit of an issue there. Friesen getting close to Santello. Trying to gain back some time here. And just to show how much of a impact the better car, the fixed up car is making. A whole second, more than a second faster a lap is Friesen now that he has taken care of the damage on that Ferrari. As you can see, Santello has damage on that car. Santello, best last lap was ran a 39 and Friesen was running a 37. So definitely some better laps from Friesen there, now P15. And even behind them, we've got some other drivers. The car of Wyatt. He's not out and racing, but he's just trying to keep it as clean as he can. Looking close to our leaders here. Shankai Zhang still dominating this race. Absolute bullet, 27 seconds ahead of Portis. KP now only 3 seconds ahead of Nunez behind. Nunez having a great race. Running P3. Tada and Turnbull still battling it out for P4 and 5. Story behind. Afonso kind of running his own race back here, trying to catch up to Story. We'll see if he can do it by the end of the race. He's still got 15 minutes to make a move. Chris Rise running P8. That's a great showing from Chris. And again, he's just kind of running his own race there, hot lapping as fast as he can. Last lap 36.5 or 36.6, sorry. Fabiano Candido trying to stay ahead of Cromer there. Both of these guys promoted after JJ left the race. Seeing if there was any issues there. Don't see anything so far. Wolf is trying to catch up to you, but you is a lap driver, so not going to be too big of a difference for him, too big of an issue. Santello still feeling the pressure from Friesen there. So go down the main straight into the braking of turn 1. Friesen opting for a little narrower of a line there, trying to get a better run into this winding and turning sector 1. Friesen seems to have gained some time there. Going a little bit further outside, further wide. Friesen looking to make the move down the straight. See if he can do it. Does he have the speed? So go down the straight. Don't know if he's going to have the speed. Tries to go inside. Not going to have that room, though. Not going to be able to outbrake him either. Friesen staying behind Santello for the time being. Cutting those chicanes as close as they can. We've got 12 minutes, 25 seconds left in the race today. Hope you guys are liking the stream so far. If so, please feel free to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Like the video. Please share the video. We do have the VODs going up after each race. Share the video with your friends, with your family, with everyone you possibly can. We want to expand Zealous as much as possible. So if you know anyone interested in sim racing, be sure to get them in and watching these races. Friesen trying to make the move on the inside. Not going to work, though. Trying to maybe bait him out, make a move. Not going to fall for it, though. Friesen opting for that narrow line again. It's going to be good, I think, coming into the little winding section here. Friesen on the inside definitely does have a better run. And that's going to be a move made from Friesen to take P14 from Santello there. And now he's going to run away with it. I think he's going to run away with it. Good move from Friesen there. Very clean. Tried to bait out the move, but also just took the line a lot more narrow. Definitely better to take the line a little narrower to get a better run into the next turn. Similar to the banking turn there near the end of the track in Sector 3. Looking at some of the other races that we have going on here. See if Tadas, Turnbull, and then Story is going to be behind them. Story having some issues. No. The 27 car of Wyatt's trying to stay clear. Afonso catching up to Story, though. Nunez catching up to Portis. Rise racing on his own. Candido cutting the grass there a little bit, thinking he is a snappy lawnmower or snapper lawnmower. Friesen's got 13 seconds, it seems like, to make up on Wolf in P13, but good comeback race for Friesen. See if he can make it stick. I really think the man of the match, the racer of the day, driver of the day, definitely has to go for Nunez, though, with 10 minutes left. Guess maybe a little bit early to tell. I'm not 100% sure, but if I had to give it out, I'd give it to Nunez. This has been an absolutely stellar drive from him. The great move to almost take P1 on the first lap. Really made his presence known early on in the race. And while he may not be racing right next to Portis right now, I have no doubts that he could give Portis a run for his money. And he did give Portis a run for his money early in this race. Just gotta say, it's absolutely fantastic to be back, though. After having 2 weeks of a break, it's great to be back here with Zealous. It's great to be casting again. It's great to be watching these races. Really do miss watching races, casting races, driving races myself, you know. Last few weeks have been a bit of a lull in terms of racing. You know, no F1 on TV, which is a big travesty, but summer break's a summer break. Got to give those drivers a break too. But it's just great to be back. Great to be experiencing some great racing. And the perk here is that, you know, I know these guys. Maybe don't know all of them in person or any of them in person, but I've been racing with these guys for almost a year now, over a year. And it's a great community. It's just good to be back. You know, even though we had those technical difficulties last week, we're able to come back and we're able to continue racing. You know, keep on moving on. Friesen allowing Nunez to pass, knowing it's not his race. Allows Nunez to pass, hoping to make some ground on Portis there. Looking further back, seeing if we have any other races going on here. Any other races? Doesn't seem to be any too close just yet. Drivers have really kind of spaced themselves out there the last few laps. Everyone's gaining, you know, everyone's been able to gain some space for themselves, take the pressure off maybe even just a little bit. Closest battle we have right now is between Tuda and Turnbull here. They've been an action point for most of the race today. But we'll go to our leader. Go to Zhang. Absolutely rapid racer today. I think he's really going to shine on a lot of these slower circuits, these more winding circuits. That Ferrari's really going to shine, and his skill is really going to be highlighted in the last races of this season. I think Portis's car definitely was suited for a lot of the early races this season, and even though his car, that NSX, maybe wasn't best suited for Watkins Glen, he was really able to make the most of it. And I think while it's NSX may not be the most ideal car for Watkins Glen, it's not maybe the worst car there. Definitely was able to be competitive. But going into next week, we have our, I want to say next week is our Crown Jewel race, which is at Kailami. But I will check before the end of the race just to make sure. Any other battles going on here? We'll just continue watching Tuda and Tuda and Turnbull here as we close out the last 5 minutes of this race. Been an eventful race. Maybe not near the front, the first few positions, but or the first position, I should say. Zhang has been controlling of this race, but there's been some excellent midfield battles. Rise, Candido Cromer, Belanger, Scott, Wolf, and Friesen have all been running excellent races. So kudos to all of those drivers. Doing an excellent job today. Like I mentioned, I'd still like to say my driver of the day is going to be Nunez for that excellent turn one move on the first lap. Massive props. Definitely whipping out the big guns for that move. A lot of courage to make that stick. Getting a little bit squirrely there coming out of the little hairpin there. 4 minutes left in the race though. Looking at races that we have upcoming though. Next week we have our... Thank you very much for tuning in, Slow to Pro. Thank you for joining us. And if I'm not mistaken, I know who Slow to Pro is. Gosh, why am I blanking on your name right now? Yeah, Dale Rodman Jr. the third. Of course, I would recognize that profile picture anywhere. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. As we go into our final few minutes, Multi Motorsports, this is Assetto Corsa Competizione. So this is a GT3, GT4, GT Racing only sim developed by Kunos. But as we wind down into the last few laps of this race, last few minutes of this race, probably only have 1, 2, maybe 3 laps left. We still have 3 races left this season. We've got Kai Lamy. Actually, no mods at all, Multi Motorsports. No mods in this game at all. We have custom liveries, I guess, but that's about it. But we have 3 rounds left. Our crown jewel race at Kai Lamy is going to be 80 minutes next week. Oh boy, I better have a whole jug of water ready for that one. That's going to be quite of a beast to cast. Then we've got COTA, Circuit of the Americas, our final U.S. circuit. The week after that, and it was supposed to be last week, but we've got our final round at Misano. It's going to be our last round of the season. It's going to be the makeup race at Misano. We got 1 minute and 20 seconds left in the race as Nunez exits the back straight there. Great battle to watch here is Tada and Turnbull in the last couple laps. Turnbull trying to make a move here that'll stick against Tada. Don't know if he's going to be able to make it stick, though. Tada is just 1 step ahead every turn. As they come around into the banked braking, Pino letting him pass. Fender ahead of him, lap car. Going around the final turn. This is going to be the last lap for these guys. And it may just be the last lap for our leader as well, Shenkai Zhang. After 60 minutes of push, Zhang is going to win his 2nd race this year. First one of our races at Watkins Glen, the 20 minutes sprint. And now he's going to win a long haul 60-minute race at the Indianapolis road course. Absolutely dominating performance, 36 laps in. Let's make that 37 as Zhang crosses the finish line. P1. Big props to Zhang as he finishes that race. Absolutely commanding performance from him. And something that we missed, Tada and Turnbull almost looked like Turnbull had made the move there. I don't know if he did. As we go to the final turns here, Portis, he's gonna lock it in. Always consistent, always near the front. Kenneth Portis gonna be P2 at Indy. And Nunez, absolutely great race for him as well behind him. P3, driver of the day in my opinion. With some back markers behind him, Tada and Turnbull have got to navigate these guys. Turnbull, oh, some crashes at the end there. Between Santello. Santello really should have gotten out of the way. He was a lap car there. We don't have any blue flag rules, but you hate to see that in the last lap of the race. Tada going to finish a P4. Great race from him, and Turnbull going to hold it and get P5. So doesn't affect his position, but very unfortunate. Could have been more catastrophic for him because Story and Alfonso were close behind. Chris Rise now crossing the finish line. P8, great race. Candido crossing P9, and that's going to be our final. That's going to be our final standings though for this race. Zhang, Portis, and Nunez. Our podium. Absolute massive props to all of those drivers. Raced an excellent race. Fantastic driving from everyone, except for that maybe that last little bump right there at the end. You really don't want to see that, especially with back markers. But it ended up fine. No positions were lost by Turnbull there. Just maybe positions gained were lost. Who knows? We'll never know. But that's how it ends. Zhang, Portis, Nunez, your podium for round 4 at the Indianapolis road course. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. My name is Shim, and I've been your broadcaster for this race. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Great to see some new faces here in the chat, and great to see some returning faces as well. Really appreciate your support, and if you're interested in following Zealous in the future, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We have links on our homepage for the YouTube page. Also, if you're interested in joining our community, be sure to click the link also on the homepage of our YouTube channel, and that will bring you to our Discord server, which has the most up-to-date news on future seasons. As I mentioned, we still got about half of this season left to go, season 8. But pretty soon after season 8, we'll have a season 9 to cap off 2022. But yeah, if you're interested in joining, if you're new to sim racing, be sure to come on in and you can ask some questions. We're always here to help. We've got all skill levels here at Zealous, and we're always willing to accommodate. So if you're interested, if you're new, be sure to give us a like, give us a follow, join the Discord, and join the community of race fans, and have some fun. Well, with that, that's all I've got for the stream tonight. Thank you again so much for your support and for all you guys joining us for round 4. My name is Shim. That's been our race. I'll be signing off. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful night. See you all next week.